This is all going on.
Yeah, big advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we stopping here? Oh, way up there. Okay. How's it going? Good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real honor to have our tourism minister, Minister MacLeod. It's a much longer title. You can introduce everyone, but so many hats the minister wears. Tourism, culture, sport, our hospitality sector, it's vital to our community, and you all know this. I often say our arts and our culture, the stories that tell our history, that tell where we're from, it's the fabric that not only knits us to our communities, but it's the fabric that ties us to our history, to where we've come from and to where we're going. And it draws people to our community. I'm proud to be from a rural community that boasts such remarkable arts and culture, such great pubs, restaurants, a food experience, and even, yes, an opportunity to play with goats at a farm that you saw earlier today. Northumberland County, Northumberland Peterborough South is a remarkable riding, and I know that being on Finance Committee over the past number of months, the tourism, hospitality, arts, culture sector have been hit hardest by COVID-19. It's the double bottom line the minister talks about, not only economic but social. It's an industry that needs our support, not only of all of you, but it needs a government that stands shoulder to shoulder. So when COVID-19 hit, on day one, minister started 14 different advisory committees. I was honored to be named to one of the rural ones, to work with our different stakeholders. As I look out here, I see many of you that either came before Finance Committee or came on one of our jobs and recovery consultations. You know, I don't know if many politicians say this, but we don't have all the answers, and I lean on all of you. And over the past number of weeks and months, you've come to me with ideas. You've said, Dave, look at this programming. This is going to touch our youth. It's going to touch our community. And I'm proud to say that our government is stepping up through our different funding organizations to support arts and culture community, to support our tourism and hospitality sector right here in Northumberland, Peterborough South. So to tell a bit more about that story and to make today's wonderful announcement, I'm really proud to be joined not only by our Warden and Mayor Sanderson, but by Minister MacLeod. Minister, thank you for taking an interest in rural Ontario, the remarkable story we can tell, but for joining me in our community today. So with that, I'll turn it over to Minister MacLeod. Thank you all for being here.
All right, thank you so much, David. Big round of applause for David Piccini, probably one of the most talented members of the Parliament. Certainly a great advocate for his community, and I can say I've known David for many, many years. And the fact that he was elected 2 years ago to the Ontario Legislature made it a much stronger assembly. And I can say you have a very strong voice, not just in the legislature, but particularly as it comes and pertains to working with his colleagues that are in the cabinet, and particularly with our Premier, who has a great deal of respect and admiration for David. So thank you, David, for always being there for my sectors as well. I'll be making an announcement in a few seconds, but I just wanted to preface that by saying it is wonderful to be here in this beautiful riding. I come from a little town called New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, in the county of Pictou, right off the Northumberland Strait. And so over the past 5 terms that I've served at Queen's Park, and many of those times I've driven through here and stopped here, I always feel like I've got a little slice of home, because this is a nice, a small town feel in the province of Ontario that really reflects the strong values that we identify with as Canadians. Now, David referred to something I call the spectacular double bottom line. When I became a minister just over a year ago, I was able to see something that was really important within this Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries. First, we look at the things that we do in this ministry. They enhance the cultural fabric and the identity of who we are. I always say to people the 2 most popular broadcasts in Canadian history was a 2010 hockey game against the United States of America, where Canada won the Olympic gold medal. The second most popular broadcast in Canadian history was Gord Downey's last concert with the Tragic New Hip. You're all nodding because you all watch those things. That's culture and that's sport, and that is what we identify as Canadians and as Ontarians, right? We're also an economic driver. We represent about $75 billion in economic activity. Now, that's where I bring in the double bottom line, having a triple threat. On the 12th of March, when our economy shuttered because of a healthcare crisis that we needed to contain as a result of COVID-19, we also saw an economic crisis. We saw the suite of sectors I'm responsible for losing about $20 billion according to estimates by the Tourism Industry Association. That means many businesses around here, whether that's a restaurant or a hotel, it means your local hockey league, it means your local theater, your local art gallery, were all shuttered. So not only were we unable to access our culture and sport and tourism, it actually cost people their jobs and their livelihoods. Now, as we slowly and gradually reopen the Canadian economy and the Ontario economy in particular, we're dealing with the third part of that threat. That's the social crisis. We did a really good job as Ontarians. We really did in order to contain the spread of COVID-19 and get into phase 2 and then eventually into stage 3. But it has come at a cost. Consumer sentiments and behavior in doing the things that they used to do have taken a hit. People aren't necessarily comfortable going into a dine-in restaurant or going to a theme park or going to an art gallery or a museum. Even their public library sometimes can pose a threat or increase their anxiety. And so that's why I embarked 5.5 weeks ago on a province-wide tour to showcase that I can travel the province safely. I wear my mask, I wash my hands, I socially distance. I follow the rules, and everywhere I've been, the establishments that or operations that I've been into have gone above and beyond their requirements. So we're all doing our part. But we have a long road to recovery. We were hit first, we were hit hardest, and we'll take the longest to recover based on that triple threat. So I embarked on that tour, we showcase it across the province, and we demonstrate our commitment as a government to making sure that each and every community is supported. And that's why I'm pleased to be here with MPP Piccini and your mayor to announce that your Ontario government is committed to this community, is committed to this riding, and will be investing, or has invested, $913,000 into your community in the last 4 months. So let me tell you who we're funding. We're funding Critical Mass, where I was just able to visit, with $150,000. A center, yes please, applaud, that's great. Great Canadian story. We're glad a guy from Saskatchewan will find his home right here in Port Hope, but he has. And he's enhancing our cultural fabric through a Center for Contemporary Art design, and they're going to be designing an app highlighting Port Hope's cultural and heritage space. That to me says that we need to be doing that in every community. To the Capital Theatre Heritage Foundation, we're investing $18,900 to engage youth and theatre professionals in a creative learning environment. Make no mistake, an Ontario without the arts is an Ontario that none of us want to live in. We will be investing $31,000 to the Cobourg Dragon Boat and Canoe Club so that they can engage in youth, families, and adults in year-round fitness programs involving canoe racing and cross-training activities. And $309,000 to Rebound Child and Youth Services to support the positive social development of children and youth in rural Northumberland. We'll be investing $53,000 to the West Bend Arts Festival Theatre to support community activities, including choral and educational programs. And I've been traveling across the province to talk about the importance of reconnecting with our neighbors, to both enhance the cultural fabric of the province of Ontario, but to reignite our economy. And through a $13 million investment, we are directly investing $350,000 into this community for hyper-local tourism marketing, so that we can ensure that the people of Port Hope and Cobourg and surrounding communities recognize that they can safely go back into their old routines, but it'll look a little different. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're here today to make sure you know two things. One is your government will continue to flow these important investments during this time. And secondly, that as we slowly and gradually reopen the Ontario economy, it is safe to support your local archivists, it's safe to support your local artists, it's safe to support your local archaeologists, and it's safe to support your local athlete. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to getting to spend a lot more time in this beautiful community over the next little while. And I encourage all of you to support your neighbors, your friends, and your family during this time. Thank you. How do you know what the dance is that you do with the premier? Some days we don't know where to go.
It falls upon me to have the honor to thank the Minister and the MVP for all they're doing for our municipality. I'm here as one person, as the mayor, but I'm only representing all of you. And Port Hope is very unique, as we all know. During our discussions, it's how do we keep Port Hope, Port Hope? We do it through all of you every day. We are a 95% agricultural community with a heritage core. That is so traditional through humanity. It's the core we cannot and do not want to lose. So when it comes to what's important, recovering the economy is absolutely important, but it's not without doing it with people. It's the only way we can recover. I was on a task force that says the number one thing from a Northumberland perspective in recovery, we need to be advocates of our own destiny. We do not and cannot have hands out saying, help us, help us, help us. We need to help ourselves so we can help everybody else as well. The number one requirement that the local task force came up with as absolutely paramount, and Northumberland is taking an active role in that, is to look at broadband connection. When we look at what is the opportunity specifically from a Port Hope perspective, probably it's agriculture, it's probably heritage, and it's culture. It's not a store necessarily opening up. They'll open up under those conditions. I don't know how many people know about this, probably everybody here. This is Lent Lane. This is so important to our community. This is where the trains used to come. There used to be a turnabout back here. And the tracks went right through the middle of the community. And Minister, I believe you're out in the countryside today, playing with goats.
Yeah, I almost adopted 3 goats today.
That Hope Goat. And this is only an example of the vibrancy and resiliency that our community has. We are right next door to a great big elephant, GTHA. And that's great because it offers a whole bunch of opportunities for us. But our mandate, and from what I can see the mandate of the population here, is to focus on our cultures, our requirements, right? And they're going to be based, as I said, agricultural, cultural, heritage. That's where we're investing. And when we look at Lent Lane and we look at what critical mass is doing, you bring such a vibrant opportunity to our community. And we appreciate it every moment of every day. And I see many of our councillors here. The council is extremely supportive of the community values that we're bringing forward. So I have a 2-hour script here that I'll just leave in my pocket. But it is up to us to keep ourselves safe. It's up to us to help ourselves. And as the airlines say, if you don't do that, you can't help anybody else. And I want to pay a true tribute to the Government of Ontario, the ministers and our MPP, who have shown compassion, kindness, patience, and have dug deep to make sure small communities in particular are not lost in the shuffle. And we feel very strongly that we are not lost. We feel we have advocates at Queen's Park. We feel the provincial government is looking after us. It's really easy, I think, for a provincial government, a federal government, to be there when we don't need them. Do they show up when we really need them? Not always. This time they have. And from a cultural perspective, I believe this was attributed to Winston Churchill when obviously budgets are tight. The suggestion came to him, well, we'll cut the arts and culture budget and we'll put it into armaments. And he turned to the person who said it and said, what the hell are we fighting for then? So we are unique. I think every community I've been to in Ontario and elsewhere, and I started my professional career in Nova Scotia, so I'm very fond of the East Coast and have many friends there. But the reality for us is we are unique, right? And the values that we have when we move forward, our strategic plan is not a 1 or 2 year plan. We're working to make that strategic goal, all our strategic goals, possible. And we're implementing, our actions and putting our money where our mouth is. We want to control our destiny. We need help to do it. We need your help to do it. Council's very supportive. We've got a couple more years on this run at it. And I got to say one more time how much I appreciate the minister coming to our municipality. David, retire. Yes. He's the only guy who can outdo me, quite frankly. He's got a little more ignorant inside. But anyway, thanks to everybody here. The thanks really goes to you. And again, thank you for all the assistance from the provincial government. We're going to carry on course, and we need it to be unified. I know there's lots of things. Port Hope is very well known to have people arguing for the same thing in different ways. That's what we do. Right? We violently agree on it. So keep it up. It seems to be working. I'm happy to help you whenever I can, and I know Council is totally supportive. I appreciate the support that Council gives the municipality and that we give to each other. So thank you all as well. And I see the Capitol Theatre represented very well. We all have to rally around that. It's a very important component of our municipality as well. It's not the only one. They're all tied together. That's where our strength is. So with that, thank you very much for being here, and thanks again. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have a database and you check it. Yeah, we used to come here a lot. Victoria. I can't believe where you're coming from. That's